Oh yes, this is the Hardcore Marketing Show. I'm Casey Cheshire, your host for this epic journey. Today's show is sponsored by Ringmaster, on a mission to launch B2B podcasts that create relationships, generate revenue, and drive growth. Ringmasterlive.com. Bam. All right. This show is about to launch. I feel like we're at the launch pad. All the steams and the gases are coming off of the different rockets. We've loaded the fuel. We are ready to go. I am so excited for this show because we've had to find the right schedule and the right time and move things around. And that's what you got to do to talk to the really, really amazing people. And so, well, who is this person, Casey? An award-winning marketing leader and thought leader on panels, interviews, conversations, pictures of awards, pictures of people just being like, preach, teach us things about marketing. Decades of marketing experience working with large companies, Red Hat experience. And also, this is really interesting too, extensive experience working with the government customers.
Yeah.
B2G, my friends, we're going to get into it. Chief Marketing Officer at Ironbow Technologies, Sarah Kim, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys so much. Casey, how do I follow up with that kind of an intro? That was amazing. The energy.
Can you juggle?
I can juggle probably for half a second. So
I've been working. It's like a goal for me this year. I'm going to try to, I keep saying every year, this is going to be the year. Well, I'm just so excited to have you here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut up. I need to pass you this thing. It's heavy for me, but I know you do 10 milers. So here we go. Ugh. Okay.
Oh,
go ahead. Grab Thor's hammer. Yeah. Take Thor's hammer.
Wow. That
was a backhanded grab, folks. Like one-handed grab of Thor's hammer, like it weighed nothing. Sarah, take Thor's hammer and smash for me some kind of marketing myth, bogus strategy, misconception. Set the record straight once and for all.
Okay. So the myth is that B2G is wildly unique. So Casey, let's talk about this. The reason why B2G is not wildly unique is because B to anyone today is about driving an outcome for the customer. So I want clear skin. I need a product to achieve that. Casey, I need a secure network so my constituents can pay for their taxes online. I need to create an engaging remote work experience for my employees, right? These are all problems we're trying to solve for, right? They're all outcomes that we are trying to drive, regardless of whatever market we're sitting in. So if you're a marketer today and you're focused on legacy thinking and you're more distracted by that, then that's going to directly impact your ability to create strong campaigns and messaging.
So don't get distracted by that legacy thinking. Legacy thinking that the government buys totally different. Like it's made up of non-humans, lizard people in the government, and they buy completely different than everyone else. It's just not true.
It's not true. They want the same level of service, the same level of quality product and solution that they get when they go to Amazon, when they go to Nordstrom now from all of the best tech players out there, right? It's the same experience and the same problem that they need to solve for.
Right, because they've got the Netflix, they've got the Amazon, they've experienced a good buying process, they've experienced good customer service, and they don't accept anything less now. Things have changed. Why do you think, where does this come from? Even this myth, where does it come from? Why do people think that government are just so different in their purchase, in their cycle?
I think for so long, the way that we have marketed to government really has been focused on events. It's been focused on trade shows. It's been focused on making sure that we have the right swag in the booth. In all seriousness, I'm not trying to minimize what it was, but that was really the motion to market. If you looked at most B2G marketing plans for so long.
Have you seen changes where people are doing much more variety of channels? Like it's no longer just events now, it's PPC and other things. Have things caught up? It's almost like B2C led the charge and B2B learned a lot from them. Has that trickled to the government side, and are they catching up? They doing the marketing automation and all those kind of things?
Absolutely. You just have to understand the customer though. So here's an example. I could potentially run paid ads, multi-tactic email campaigns for a subset of government. When I
Okay.
get into DoD, if I'm trying to email .mil addresses, it has to be plain text. If I put links in there, they
Wow.
get stripped out. You have to think through how your customer is actually able to communicate with you and receive information, right? It really, if you think about what the common denominator is, again, in this conversation, it's about understanding the customer.
Tell me more about that, right? There are some differences, but you keep coming back to this. Look, understand them, understand how they can receive messages, understand what regulations they have to follow and what you need to follow and what they're looking for. And I think at the very beginning, you're just like, we're solving their problems in the end of the
We're
day.
solving the problems. That's what's most important. I was trying to kind of put together what has worked, and there are
Yeah.
3 things that have worked for
Okay.
B2G, okay? So the first is when we focus on the problem that we are trying to solve and work backwards in telling that story, that lands, that hits. However you wanna say it nowadays in a trendy way, right? That is what works,
That's
right?
lit.
Focus. It's lit. I don't even know if we can say that. My kids are
No, we
cooler than me
can't.
now.
My kids would listen to this and cringe.
Friends, yes, yes. The next would be elevating the customer's experience, the CX, right? So, as a marketing team, what are we doing to address this, to simplify how they're able to purchase, to enhance their journey when they're trying to go from, awareness, interest, consideration, purchase, retention, all of that, right? It's
Yeah.
how do we create a really beautiful experience for them as a customer? And then the last would be looking at things through your EQ lens, right? How do you humanize your demand generation efforts with more approachable, relatable content and outreach, right? Stop trying to sound smart with big words. We can't assume that all of our buyers are completely technically savvy and understand all the jargon and terminology. They're just normal human beings trying to solve problems like us. So think about that when you're putting your messaging together.
Sometimes I felt like the best marketing email is one that doesn't sound like a marketing email,
Mhm.
from and it's like we can all smell it right off like the subject line. And I even was looking at some copy today and I think was the word like leverage, and it's just it, it's such a slippery slope of you start using these. They're like, it's the right word, but it's just too much. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not conversational like our conversation, right? You could literally be at a teleprompter right now saying, "Let me tell you that," but that's not real. And so we're having a discussion, we're hashing it out, so much more authentic. But that EQ lens is so interesting, right? 1 and 2, you're thinking about the customer, then it's finally like, they're humans too, which I think
Mhm.
you even established at the beginning. We're all selling to humans, right? The whole human to human thing. It's kinda cliche, but at the same time, it's true.
So true. It's more important now, I think, than ever.
Where have you seen the EQ lens not work? Where have you seen people fail to use that when selling to government?
I think one of the biggest areas of improvement is when you look at how industry is creating and positioning content, they're not thinking through EQ in any way. It's
Mm,
just, "Let me give you the car salesman pitch. I don't really care about what your problem is. I just want you to know that I do these 5 things, and I'm the best at it." That has
yeah.
been sort of the through line in so much of the thought leadership content that I've seen out there. So that to me is a call to us marketers to say, how do we do this better? We can do this better. We can plain language this more. We can make this more approachable. We can focus on the outcome first. I shouldn't even hear about what you do until the very end. You should be
Mm,
telling me and teaching me about the state of the state. You're talking about security. Help me understand the state of security within the DoD today, right? And then at
right.
the end, tie in what you can do to those issues that you just outlined for me.
Right, right, you're teaching things, you're getting people knowledge. They've left the experience a little bit smarter maybe than they started it. You've started the whole encounter with a gift as opposed to taking their time and attention.
That's right. You can't call yourself a trusted advisor. That's one of my favorites. People aim to be the trusted advisor to their customer. That's
Sure.
great. We all want that. I, as a marketer, want a trusted advisor for marketing, right? I want someone who can give me that information and that I can lean on to give me the latest benchmark and then propose solutions that help me address what I'm trying to solve for.
Amazing. Amazing. Focus on the problem, up leveling, enhancing that customer experience, and then adding the EQ lens. Have you written a book? I feel like this is like this pod is your book today. This is powerful stuff.
Casey, this is our book together. This is not my book. This
Okay.
is our book.
I'll co-author it with you. This is great. But we'll make your name the biggest one because this is like I've never heard it put so simply, right? And that's why I love chatting with people, whether it's a different industry or mode of sale or what, because sometimes you just get a clarity when you step out of your bubble, like
Yeah.
my B2B. I used to be in this Salesforce bubble where the only conferences and events I went to were related to Salesforce and Salesforce customer. And then cool, okay. But then there's so much other things out there and things that other people have figured out that you really do need to just cross pollinate.
Yeah, we really do. One of the projects we had last year was a 15-second TV spot, and it runs during Washington, D.C. area sporting events. And so I'm thinking through, okay, if you look at all of the other TV spots from versions of us, tech providers into government, it's, a sort of a stale voiceover, really serious. There's imagery of of tech stacks and people. And I'm thinking, okay, think about the audience here. They're probably, maybe they're drinking a beer. They might not even have the music on or the volume on during the commercials. They don't want to hear about your tech stack or what solutions you offer for zero trust. It's not the right time or place. So I'm a big fan of the US Open. I was watching the US Open, watching the commercials playing during the matches, and I'm seeing Rolex. And Rolex did this beautiful commercial, Casey, where it had this imagery of shapes moving, and it was the tennis ball was moving. There's tons of movement in it. Great color, right? Very vibrant. The music was hitting. It was strong. There was no voiceover, but it was telling the story visually. Like that is what we want, right? That is
Yeah.
what you're gonna remember as you're drinking, watching the game, or as you're socializing, watching the game. So that's what we did. It's completely different from what you see out there. And that is one of the ads I've received the most positive feedback on,
Wow.
truly, because it's different. It's considering the audience, it's considering the platform, the timing, right?
Mm,
All of those things are important, and that to me is the difference, Casey, between good and great. You can do something good or you can do something great.
but my challenge to you, because as you're describing it, it's like, okay, Rolex, I get it. You only just need to even see something cool happening, and the watch is just in the scene, and then you kinda like it's a commercial product. How do you then stretch that to something a little bit more mental or ethereal, like corporate security or government secure and not even like a fence secure, but like a digital cyber secure, like how do you go from consumer product to something in the sky like that?
In the sky, and also, Casey, it's brand recognition. It's Rolex is a known brand. Ironbow is not known by everyone and their mom the way Rolex
Sure.
is, right? I
Sure.
completely understand that, right? But it's more so in 15 seconds, can I get you to remember Ironbow?
Right.
Can I
Okay.
get that light to turn on where you see us as you're driving down the toll road, or you see another ad, or you see us in an event and you go, "Oh, I remember them." That to me was the goal.
So I get it though. So in my mind, I was thinking, well, I was probably thinking legacy, thinking where I have to communicate everything in 15 seconds, right? And you're like, no, no, no. I just want you to remember Iron Bow, and not really sure what they do. Maybe there's like a little hint at where it goes, but you don't know like every layer beneath it. But the next time you encounter that or in a conversation, you're like, it's going to sound so much more familiar. Like I will say, like I'm not, even prior to doing research on you and the company, I know of Ironbow, but I wasn't exactly sure what they did. But somehow I've been exposed to it and go, oh yeah. So when you mentioned like not everyone knows it, I'm thinking, yeah, but a lot of people do. I do, and I don't even know why.
It's a journey we're taking you on. So, right,
Yeah,
I need to introduce myself a few times, get you to remember me, and then I'm going to teach you about why we're the best at what we do, right? Over
right,
time in the right ways. I'm not going to just shove it all and force it in 15 seconds.
right. Okay, quick, sit down. We're this. We do this, and here's what we do. Right? And it's like, no, it's like the old medicine or the medicine commercials trying to tell you all the side effects in like 8 seconds.
Sped up.
Too
Yeah,
much.
where they literally speed it up to be able to say all
Yeah,
of that copy within that time period.
the
Yep.
worst. So I feel like we're doing that. It's a great example. Like, don't be like the medical commercials with your marketing.
Yeah.
And your commercial is like a great example of that. Are you gonna do more? Were you able to see good results from that? It sounds like you got a lot of people mentioning it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to continue to do that, and that is one component of a larger campaign that you're going to see. So, as an example, you see it
Yeah,
on
please.
TV. You also see that video running within the general concourse of the building. So, if there are people in person, they're seeing that. You're also seeing supporting ads that have a QR code where you can actually download a piece of content on the spot that talks more about what we're doing. Right? We're serving you information in different ways in case you didn't see the last thing we shared or in case you want to know more, right? And when you think through what that's doing, it's not just about demand gen for customers who buy Casey, it's demand gen for customers who could want to partner with us. It's for our customers who work for us. Our employees are our most important customer, right? So, how do we do something that makes them proud? How do we do something that makes them want to stand behind Ironbow brand? And it's for people who don't work for us yet that need to know we're the destination. This is why you should want to join this company.
Talk to me about the importance of partners and partnerships, and if you have any powerful strategies for just making those things work, like you did with the previous. Like, what's your secret to success with partnerships?
Partnerships are the lifeline to what we do.
Mm,
When you are not an OEM, but you are a solutions provider, you're responsible for staying on top of the best tech that's out there today so that you can truly say, we have designed the best solution that includes the tech and the people that can help you solve this problem. So that when you're shaping a campaign to go to market together, it considers what we are trying to achieve. Let's say these are growth targets, let's say these are messaging targets. It addresses what the partner wants to achieve as well. It also is leveraging each other's brands, so you're really proliferating. It's like a megaphone, Casey. If you're doing
mm,
it the right way, you're literally times 2 times 10 ing your
yeah,
campaign outreach, right? The other piece of it is really understanding how both parties manage their sales motion. Every company has a different sales motion. And I think as marketers, one mistake I've made before is, I know that our team can design a multi-tactic, beautiful campaign, right? But if I'm short-sighted to think, okay, here are all the great things marketing's going to do and we're going to launch, but I'm not thinking through, okay, the second half piece, which is sales enablement. It's how are the sellers, what's their selling motion? How are they tracking, right? And then also considering how is the partner doing those things?
right.
I can't see the ROI at the end. I can only see top to mid funnel, right? So that is something that you have to consider as well.
Yeah, it's the same. Oh man, that's such a great point. That just like you'd want to manage that full cycle across your sales team, understanding how your partner wins and being able to see
Yeah.
that they win too,
Yep.
uh, is a long lasting partnership, right? You don't spend so much time on a partnership and have it not work and you're done, or invest some time in it and then see it just prosper for years and years and years. That's a powerful. I wanted to shift a little bit. You mentioned inspiration, and I'd love that. Like, what kind of books are you reading? What kind
Mm.
of podcasts you listening to? Obviously, this one, but what kind of what kind of sources of information are you using out there?
I just got done reading Machiavelli for women. Um,
Okay.
yep, Stacy Vanek Smith. I recognized her because of she has a podcast with NPR called Planet Money.
Oh, I love Planet Money. Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's her. I have to give a major shout out. This book really was to Stacy. It's such a great read, Casey, because it's written in plain language again, right?
Mm,
So if anyone's like, ugh, I don't have time to read. I promise you, this is an easy, quick read. She brings in some great examples from actual women who have gone through like situations and how they have either done a great job navigating through, similar to how Machiavelli did, or how they didn't do a great job. And this is kind of what Stacy would recommend if you were to channel your own Machiavelli self. How can I get through that, or how could I avoid that happening again?
wow. Okay. So it sounds like it's highly recommended.
It's a great book. I really liked that. One of my favorite podcasts that I got to give you a little mini story. So it's Hidden
Yeah,
Brain.
please.
Are you familiar with Shankar Vedantam on Hidden Brain? NPR as well.
No. Oh, another Hidden Brain though? No, I haven't heard of this one.
Okay, so Shankar Vedantam is a social scientist, and he does this beautiful job of storytelling. And he does it in a way that it basically, Casey, will reveal unconscious patterns that drive our behavior as humans. And he
Okay.
always has a specific topic or theme each show. If you're on the road traveling, this is something I promise you listen to one and you'll be hooked. So let me tell you what happened. I was working at a SaaS company selling into government. And every year at that company, we host a summit for all of our users. And this is a 1,400 person event. It's hybrid, in
Wow.
person and remote. And, one of the biggest draws is how do we get a great keynote? And I had been obsessed with this podcast for so long. I'm thinking, you know what? Let me see if he would be willing to do this. So I literally went to NPR's website and I submitted a form. I was a form fill
Yep.
myself.
Yep.
He actually reached out to me immediately. He himself, Shankar Vedantam, reached out to me immediately. And we locked him in. He came and he was a keynote for the event. And I lost my mind.
Amazing.
It was amazing.
Amazing. You know, in a world where sometimes people seem so distant and hard to reach, it's so cool when and you would think a form will get like through 9 people and maybe not even get to him, that he's just like reaching back out. And how did it go? Was he just like a killer keynote? Did he crush it?
Crushed it. Very just a normal human being who just happens to be really smart and a
Yeah.
great
No.
storyteller. What's better than that? That was the dream.
Seriously. I love those kind of pods where you I got introduced to one called Heavyweight. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Mm-mm.
And, like, listen to a pod and you're like, "Damn you, Heavyweight. That was a heavy story," you know?
Yeah,
And it's just like these true stories, and sometimes they're tongue in cheek, but sometimes they're just powerful. You're like, "Wow,
right.
you got all that into a single podcast." That's it's not even a show, it's just a single episode, all the work that went into it for that, and
That's wild.
man,
I'm
I
writing
love
that down. You said heavyweight?
yeah.
Okay. I'm adding it.
Yeah, shout out to Liam for that recommendation. That was a really good one. And then you just kinda binge through it. You're like, "Wow." So good. Well, my next question really is like, who are you? Who are you? Sarah, take me back in time. Little Sarah days, did you know you were going to be an absolute badass, like, CMO, teaching people things, organizing these amazing events, just crushing these podcast episodes? Take us back in time. What was it like?
I did not know I would be a CMO, but I'm gonna pour on the cheese right now, but this is the truth. I grew up born and raised in a suburb in Ohio, one of two Asians my entire life until I went to college. Not a lot of diversity. My parents were immigrants from South Korea and they came here.
Wow.
It's that true story of, coming to this country, wanting a better life for their family.
Yeah.
They started two businesses. They still have the businesses. They're successful. They
Wow.
started those businesses, Casey, without even knowing English. They learned English on their own. They became citizens on their own. Think about passing the citizenship test without really understanding English. They studied and they did it.
Jeez.
And when you ask me, did I know if I was going to be a CMO? No. But my dad used to always say to me, And verbatim, this is how he would say it in his broken English, "You're gonna be a big woman someday." He would always say that, and it makes me almost wanna tear up when I think about
Yeah.
that, but I say that same thing the same way to my 2 sons, who are 5 and 8. I say, "You're gonna be a big man someday," because that was, etched into my brain, and that is what I would just constantly think, whatever that means, that is what I owe myself to be.
Wow.
Does that
It
answer your
became
question?
yeah, like, and it so that became just that thought that just you kept with you, and you're right, it isn't totally it's what's great about it is it's broad and it's not so clear that it's like, "No, you're gonna be a chief market officer." It's like, "No, you're gonna be something and big and, uh, amazing." That's so amazing.
Still trying. We're still trying though. We're still trying.
Yeah. Do you still tell yourself that today? Do you still hear that?
I don't tell myself that. I do hear my dad saying that to me in my
Yeah,
head all the time. So,
that's awesome.
so now it's more so, making sure that in my role in whatever seat I'm in, whether that's as a mom, as a wife, as CMO, as a friend, it's trying to live up to that. It's like I have this responsibility to try to be that. So that's what I focus on for myself.
Amazing. And it also sounds like and inspiring others to achieve that too. That's incredible.
We're trying. We're trying.
And so, you talk to me about the journey, right? Because you have lefts and right turns and you know, you go to school for one thing and it ends up something else, and
Mhm.
how does marketing happen, right? I know it sounds like you had comm and psychology was the
Yeah.
initial
Yeah. So when I was in school, in college, I was always drawn to, at the time, it was either a comms major or business. But I mean,
Sure.
honestly, what at the university I was at, those were kind of the main two, or it was pharmacy because it was a big
Oh,
pharmacy.
boy.
Yeah, which is
That's way out
wildly
there, yeah.
different. Yeah. But I remember my PR classes really hitting me. Just I was drawn into that world. I did the minor in psychology because I'm a big fan of trying to understand why people think the way they do. This is why I love EQ so much. In
Yeah.
Korean, you've heard me talk about nunchi, which is the equivalent of EQ. It's so that was more of a passion project on the side. But I've always been drawn to things related to marketing. And so that is what led me to this point.
Mm.
What's interesting is there was a massive split in my path when I moved to DC to start my career here as a marketer. I actually also interviewed for a marketing intern position with Turner in Atlanta to be an intern for Conan O'Brien,
Really?
which is so wild because, long story short, my brother had a friend who worked at Turner in finance. And so they opened my eyes to, hey, there's this program and you should apply. And it
Wow.
was one of those things where you apply and you never think you'll ever, yeah, ever, because it's so big and there's so,
Sure.
thousands
Everyone
of
wants it. Yeah.
everyone. And then Casey, it's wild. I literally accepted my first job in GovTech. And I'll never forget, I was standing outside of a Robex during my lunch break. And I was a week into the job. And I got the call months after I had applied. And they offered me the position for Conan. And I think I hallucinated, blacked out. I don't know what happened, but I turned it
I'm
down.
sure.
I turned it down.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you why. I think honestly, when I think back on it, it was more so, I felt like I had made a commitment to the company I was at. This is naive Sarah, and it's like, out of respect, I
No, I
shouldn't, and
understand,
I
yeah.
don't regret it, but it is a huge, like, that would have been a tremendous. I don't know if we would be talking right now. If we
Sure.
were talking, we wouldn't be talking B2G versus,
Yeah.
you know, it's
No, I
a di
know.
yeah,
Do you think you made the right decision?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I do. It's, it's not it's obviously a different world, but, when I say this, I really mean it. What we're doing in my career of serving GovTech, at the end of the day, the through line has always been these are things that keep us safe as constituents, citizens, humans. These are things that help make our lives better in our communities. These are technologies that are helping to drive an impact into our world. That's very meaningful, and I've always enjoyed that piece of it. That's why GovTech marketing is not boring to me. It's not
Right.
stale to me.
Right, because there is a purpose. You are doing something. You are serving the government, right? Like, you don't have to be in the government to be serving it. Like, supporting it and, keeping it safe. And yeah, so do you think that the sort of the hindsight looking back, would you have had that same kind of level of fulfillment in TV or in comedy late night?
I would hope so. I would hope so because I think it's I just knowing myself, I would want to just do as much as I could in that role. I
Sure.
would hope. I don't know
Yeah.
enough because I'm not in it today, but I would hope that I would really find it fulfilling and that I would, um, create a solid career in it, but who knows?
You never know. Like I experienced something like that where I was on track to become a pilot in the military, not necessarily understanding what the perfect, ideal personality is for a pilot, right? I am not the guy who's going to fly you from Boston to Newark every day. Like
Right.
halfway through, I might be like, you know what? We should go to Hawaii today. This is your captain speaking. I really don't want to fly to Newark again. So how about Hawaii on me? Like it. So I realized later, like, okay, it didn't exactly work out, but I'm glad it didn't because I probably would
Mm.
have, if I had gone further, I would have found myself going like, cool, still a cool job, you know, um, but not really, suited for me in my space. I wonder if
I mean,
I wonder if there's something of that with you,
yeah, yeah, but Casey, can I just say, I think all of your listeners would be totally fine with that if you were the pilot and you said, "Let's go to Hawaii instead on me." So, I don't know, there's an audience for it.
Pretty sure, yeah, right? Like a do you wanna do it? You wanna start an airline with me? We'll call it like Rando Air, where you get on a plane, you have no idea where it's going, and you just, "Okay, here
Yep,
you go."
that's right.
Oh, man. Uh, so, uh, question then, if it's a bit of a hypothetical question, so
Sure.
get ready for that.
Okay,
Um, I may or may not have a time machine up at here in New Hampshire, right?
okay,
So you come to an event, in Boston, come visit. We'll use the time machine. It's in the backyard covered in a tarp, right? And
sure.
so we use the time machines, but it's a particular kind of time machine. And you get to go meet yourself. You get to go visit yourself 4 or 5 days after graduating with that comm degree, that psych
Mm.
minor. And you get to meet that Sarah. What do you tell yourself? What kind of things you can have a conversation? What are you saying?
Oh, I wish I could do that. I would tell my younger self in the middle of Ohio that your disappointments are your superpowers. My disappointments in growing up being Asian, being from an immigrant family that was very blue collar, where you're constantly grinding, right, to survive and to try to work towards a better life. All of those things, they're superpowers now. They completely make me capable of dealing with so many issues today that maybe others don't know how to navigate, right? I appreciate those things more than I ever have in my entire life, And so I would absolutely tell myself that, hey, chin up, because those things are all going to make you be the best version of yourself in the future.
Amazing. Man, I can imagine so many people listening, even myself, thinking about those things that, we thought were our weaknesses, but are actually end up becoming our strengths if we want them to.
That's right.
And I guess the follow-on question to that is, would younger Sarah listen to you? Would she would she heed your advice?
You know, she might. She
Yeah.
was so focused on assimilating and getting out of Ohio. I was working multiple jobs and like, how do I get out of here? I
Yeah.
was ready to start a life outside of that world. So I would hope I think she might have listened. She might have listened.
And either way, you ended up here, so it worked out. Um, Man, amazing. Sarah, where can people connect with you if they want to reach out? Maybe they too have lived in Ohio for a brief period of time. I lived in Ohio for a little bit myself, and you're right, pretty forgettable. But
No,
um,
Casey, hold on though. Shout out to Ohio now because it is not the Ohio that it was before. And I love Ohio now.
you
I'm
do?
proud of being from Ohio. I'm from specifically closer to Cleveland, but if you ever go back to Cleveland, you let me know
Okay.
and I will give you a list. There are amazing things to do there now. And there's so much goodness coming out of Ohio. I just, I'm just speaking specifically to my life there, but amazing things coming out of it. I take my kids back because my family's still there, so they can see it. It's definitely changed. So shout out to Ohioans. No digs
Okay.
on Ohio.
All right. We Ohio is back. They're like, okay, I don't have to unsubscribe from this pod anymore. Uh, I'm actually intrigued. I'll definitely keep that in mind next time I have a chance. I'll definitely check it out again because
Yeah.
to be fair, it has been, I don't know, several decades. So yeah, I'm a little out of date with my knowledge.
That's okay. Let me give you a couple. Guess where the Football Hall of Fame is? Canton, Ohio.
Oh,
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, if you're a music fan, Cleveland, Ohio. See, we got some stuff.
interesting.
Yeah.
See, it's like the sneak candidate where you're like, oh my gosh, where'd they come from? That is, yeah, okay, cool. I'm in. I'm in on a little. Maybe we'll do a little family vacay there. Bring the kids and
Okay.
show them the old Chesh house. It'll be awesome. So
Mhm.
Sarah, where can people they want to reach out to you, connect with you, connect, learn more about Ironbow, all those things? Where should they go?
Please learn more about Ironbow, ironbow.com.
Okay.
That's the best way. Me, LinkedIn. I'm always open to connecting. All of my email is listed on LinkedIn as well. So I'm here. I'm always looking for people to learn from and to learn with. So happy to be a resource or be a partner.
Hell yeah. And we will link to all of those things in the show notes. Clickety click with your fingertips on the show notes and find that stuff. Sarah, thank you so much. Like, what an amazing thing to work really hard to get on each other's calendars to make this thing happen and then to have it be this good. I feel like we have met and surpassed expectations. Thank you again for being on here.
100% Casey. I appreciate the opportunity. Your team is amazing. And this whole experience as one of your customers has been phenomenal. So thank you for that.
So good. And I appreciate that. And for those listening, if you learned something, and I freaking know you did because I literally have 2 pages of notes over here, front and back, running out of space in the margins. But yeah, if you learned about the focus on the problem, elevating the customer experience, using EQ lens, any of these many numerous things, share this episode with one other person. Not even 9,000, though that would be cool. But one person, just
We're shooting for the stars. Do the 9,000, please. 9,000.
9,001 people share this with them. But put what you learned. What was your takeaway? What was your take? Tag Sarah, tag myself, make this a LinkedIn party. We'll have a good time with it, but get good information in other people's hands. That's thought leadership. With that, Sarah, thank you again.
Thanks, guys.
All right, everyone. This has been a crazy cool episode of the Hardcore Marketing Show. We will see you all next time.